Welcome everyone to another episode of the Candy Show. I'm your host, Candy. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in on IG Live page, Candy Girl 3149. Make sure that you follow, however, the IG page of Candy Talk Show, and that's Candy like the candy that you eat. Make sure that you also subscribe to the YouTube page, and that's capital C, Candy Productions too. Guys, let's welcome my guest, Mr. RnB. Ooh, we can't wait to hear what he's got going on. Mr. RnB. All right, guys, make sure you welcome. Give it up for Addam. Yes, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Yeah, you can hear the claps in the background.
Hold on now. You talking about claps? Let's see.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay, now we got you the claps. All right, Addam, tell us where you're coming from today. Right now, where are you at?
Yeah, well, I'm from Woodbridge, Virginia, and I'm heading to Reagan National Airport to go take care of some music industry stuff over in Texarkana in Dallas.
Okay, so so you're in Dallas right now?
Not yet. I will be boarding my plane around 8:55.
Okay, so for those of us who don't know exactly where the Reagan Airport is, tell us exactly where that's at, city and state.
It's near DC, so somewhere in Arlington. So
Okay,
Crystal
okay,
City, which is like because I'm from Woodbridge, so that's about like 15 to 30 minutes away.
okay, great. Thank you so much for reaching out to the Candy Show. I'm interested to see what you have going on, and tell everybody, how old are you, Addam?
Yeah, I'm right now I'm 28. I'm going to be turning 29 next month. So,
Awesome. Give us a little bit of background of why you got into this industry.
yeah, so it's kind of interesting because when I was younger, it's kind of hard to explain, but when I was younger, I was always into like performing at different little talent shows here and there, and it kind of like, I don't know, it just, how you feel like it kind of feels right for you. Like I kind of felt like that was sort of my calling, but I didn't realize it at the time. So I just kind of didn't pay no mind to it until I was around like 15 years old, and I was messing around with just like putting beats and stuff together on GarageBand. And then once I graduated high school, or the end of high school, that's when I really started getting into like wanting to do R&B specifically. And there was this like used music store that's still around near my area, and there was just a lot of like R&B records, and I vibed with it, and specifically like Bobby Brown was one of my influences. So that's kind of like how I got into wanting to do like R&B, because he was sort of the gateway to all those different R&B artists that I got into. So that's what made me want to get into the industry, and how I sort of started.
What was it specific about Bobby that brought you to saying that that was basically your main person, your main influence?
Yeah, so basically one day I think I was like, just backing it up a little bit, because I kind of sort of gave you sort of the gambit a little bit, backing it up a little bit. When I was like about like 16 years old, when I was high school, like one of his Behind the Musics popped up on VH1, and it kind of showed me, a basis of his career, and just from like the stage presence, the energy, and the sound, especially from his second album, which is, in my personal opinion, one of the greatest R&B records ever made, like top to bottom, everything from the very first song to the very last song. The 9 songs on that project are some of the greatest pieces of music that I've ever, heard. And so it just kind of like, it was, as him as a performer, just his charisma and everything like that, and it just made it something that I wanted to do, because I feel like he had a bit of like a edge that a lot of other artists at the time just didn't have, in my opinion. And to this day too. I mean, I still love Bobby to this day.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but yes, New Edition is one of my favorite
Oh
groups of
yeah.
all time. So I get it. I get it.
Oh yeah. No,
I totally get it.
it's in your name.
It is very much so. But let's talk about that. Your
Sure.
so the thing that I wanted to ask you
Hmm.
was why R&B? Why not anything else?
Right. I feel like the other genres for me personally, like R&B, just there's a certain like it's everything is based on a feeling for me. And when it comes to like R&B music, it's the sounds of the instrumentation, it's the lyrical content, it's just how it makes you feel. It gives you almost like, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. It's one of those like almost makes you feel like a massaging quality. It just the lyrical content is it makes you have to think. Whereas to like certain stuff like pop music and different things like that, it feel pop music kind of makes me feel like it's almost like junk food. So it's kind of like it doesn't really, it feels like it doesn't really stick with you. Like when you think of like classic songs, I mean most people will go to like R&B music for like classic music that they'll want to replay over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So that's why R&B specifically, it was like the amount of diversity in, you know, R&B specifically from the different artists, like they don't all sound the same. They all have their own, like you can hear the differences in their vocals and things like that. So like for example, give you a better example, like if you listen to like I just said Bobby Brown, but if you listen to Bobby Brown and like Keith Sweat, you could tell the difference between the two vocalists. Same thing with like Tevin Campbell or Luther Vandross, different artists. Just like I listen, you know, because I listen to a whole lot of R&B, so that's what stuck with me the most. And I feel like also too, I just feel like there isn't a lot. Um, I just feel like right now, especially, there isn't a lot of artists that are doing R&B music that aren't on the male side. So that's a reason why it just kind of stuck with me for the longest.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to do a favor for me. So I
Yes.
see you have a pretty good grade of hair, but we can't see your hair. So
Okay. Yeah.
yes, love
Sorry, I'm trying to
it.
hold it. I'm trying to hold it up so that the thing doesn't, the glare doesn't hit the camera.
Yeah, not a problem, not a problem, not a problem. Okay, so tell me what's your nationality?
I'm actually Hispanic and I'm Persian.
Wow. Can you say something to me in a different language?
I I I actually, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't really know how to say anything in Purvede. Sorry, my mom's in the car. So what does that mean? Yes, it means give me money in Farsi. She just throw me something in another language. Like my everybody can speak other languages, but I speak, and me and my older brother, we only speak English. So
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I just wanted to make sure because you got a good grade of hair and I want everybody to see that too, you know.
yeah,
Can you dance?
yes.
Because I'm a dancer. I love
Well,
dancing.
it's funny that you say that because it's like before the music became a big thing, I actually, well, sort of started off as like a Michael Jackson impersonator for like a handful of years, and that's actually what kind of led me into other things. So because I got into Michael Jackson when, you know, he had just had like literally a few months before he had passed, you know, I had really started. I got into his music too, and then one Christmas, my mom bought me most of his albums. You know what I mean? So from there, I learned a lot of his, you know, routines from like Dangerous to Smooth Criminal, Billie Jean, and things like that. And then because of Michael Jackson, it got me into James Brown, and I learned how to do like the 3-step and the things, different like quick maneuvers that James did. So it's sort of like it's sort of like, yeah. So I picked up a lot of dancing. I should be dancing more, to be honest with you, because it's like when you're trying to do everything. But yes, I can dance. So yeah, I just just a little rusty, but I can dance.
Not a problem. Hey, I see we're gonna when we get together and finally meet, we're gonna have to do a Michael Jackson dance off. Just want to let
Hey,
you know, because
I'm all about that. I can still do a little Michael set.
cool. I'm telling you now I'm really eager to meet you because
Oh yeah.
I got to brush up on my moves too.
Where Candy, if you don't mind me asking, where are you located?
I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that was actually
Okay.
something I was going to ask you. Have you ever
Sure.
been here before?
You know, when you take the plane, uh, I think I did pass, you know, had to go through, you know, Indianapolis. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we're talking. So like, we'll get to the music, you know, the new stuff later in the interview. But definitely, you know, I would love to come down there to have some opportunities because unfortunately in Woodbridge area, there isn't a whole bunch of stuff. So, that is definitely, India. Yeah, I mean, other than DC, but yeah, no, I haven't been to Indianapolis before. I would love to go.
Well, come on. You're invited. You have my special invitation. You come.
Okay.
We have some great things here for all different nationalities and all of that good stuff. And R&B, love it. So listen, you have my open invitation. But let's go ahead and get back into this
Mm,
interview. Now,
sure.
when exactly did you get into the business and start becoming serious and started recording your first song?
Right. So it's funny because I started getting serious. I started getting serious probably around like, you know, when you start, sometimes, the music doesn't always come out the greatest, as most artists usually don't talk about it, but like around like 2016. And then I took a lot of my, that old material down because as I, continued to work on my craft and get better, I just, I would say to answer that question, so I don't want to beat around the bush, I would say like 2020 is when that music video I sent you, that Still Believing Forever record, which was written by my boy Daquan Julius, is when I really started, I guess you could say, taking it very, very seriously and, finding that is the career path I want to go down more than anything. So that's 2020. So about 2 years ago is when I really took it serious. But I've been, I guess you could say, as far as in general, for music, I think at least half my life, with music being, because I'm about to be 30 in like 2 years. So 20, I'll be 29 this year, but like most more than half my life, has music been as a big bit has been a big part of my life. But yeah, 2020.
20. Okay, so was this before the pandemic, before the quarantine, or was it
It
after?
was literally at the cusp of the quarantine. So literally like February, like the music video came out in March. The song was like done in was recorded multiple times, but it came out in like January, I believe. I can't remember the exact date here. And then it like literally I started going out for performances. I went to two. Then literally the pandemic hit, which literally was the worst thing ever because it's like, come on, really, when I'm about to really like go out there and, you know, really start promoting this record. And by the time, the pandemic hit, the record was out for like 2 years, and it was like, okay, well, it's time to. Oh, well, I'll get and the record did, luckily, chart on iTunes and hit 51, number 51 there for a day. You know what I mean? I was pretty happy about that, but it could have done probably a lot more had the pandemic not been, unfortunately, as it, came timely wise. But it is what it is. But it did lay a foundation for me to continue to do what I'm doing. So I am grateful for the record.
Are you independent? Are you signed to anyone?
Currently, I am an independent artist right now, but my goal with these next two songs that I'm working on, I will be going out there. I have some meetings with my team up there, and crossing my fingers that I will be going back with I'm hunting for a record deal or a distribution deal. That is the goal for me. Um, so right now, independent though.
Okay. Tell everyone about your first song that you have out.
Sure. So, Still Believing Forever was a song, like I said, that was written for me by Daquan Julius. It was a love song sort of dedicated to what I always like to see as like long-lasting relationships that unfortunately you don't really see anymore. And when you have grandparents that are, from that time period that have been together for, 40, 50 years, still being, loving in a very strong loving relationship. Sorry, strong loving relationship. That's what I always wanted, always want. And, I've been with someone for about 3 years now, and I continue to, want to build upon that. And, I want it to be, that's what was sort of the concept for the first song when I did, Still Believing Forever.
Are you writing your songs?
I do have, I'm more of a concept guy. Excuse me. Sorry. It's gonna move around a little bit. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Oh,
There we
you
go.
good.
Sorry. Yeah. I do dibble and dabble with writing, but I usually, I'm more of like a sit down at the table. So I do provide a few lyrics here and there, but, I work with, the people that I have that are at the level that I'm looking at, because in today's day and age as an artist, even some of the biggest hits that won Grammys, they have a lot of writers that are. Do you mind, Candy? Would it be okay if you hold on for one moment so I can get out my
Sure,
car?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Not a
do.
problem.
I do apologize.
Well, my question to you is you were talking about the writing team.
Yes. So basically, I'm more of the concept guy in terms of the direction and things like that. And I write a lyric here or there. So I have some, I have some decent ideas, but when it comes to the execution of the really strong songs, I have two really great writers. One is Daquan Julius. Actually, I have three. Jay Harris would be one. Unfortunately, I just haven't been able to reach him that much. And the third one is more recent is called LV RnB, and they just have they write amazingly, very strong. My boy Daquan recently got a situation with SZA, so hopefully, crossing my fingers, that will happen for me, and through the connections on what he's been doing, for me. So that's who I kind of rely on for the best possible records that utilize my voice in the best possible way. Like I was saying, unfortunately nowadays, in order to pin a hit, a lot of people, usually have a team of like 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 or however many writers to pin a hit. Unless you're someone like, Prince or someone like I said, Daquan, or a few people like that, you'll find more people have a whole bunch of writers that do what they need to do to make a hit. And I think that specifically when it comes to being a writer as a singer, I find that's a little more necessary in a way versus a writer if you're like a rapper. I feel like if you're a rapper, for example, it's more important to write all your own bars because it's a life experience thing where a singer can convey the emotion in a way. I don't know. That's just sort of thing. But yeah, so that's what I have as far as the team.
And would you like to eventually start writing your own material?
Yes, I definitely will. I definitely want to. And my main goal is once I have a few hits under my belt with these records taking off is what I'm hoping for, then I will sit with the writers that I work with to kind of teach me how to structure it the right way. Because, it's funny because I know how to write poems and stuff, free verse poetry and things. But when it comes to writing lyrics, I have no idea why it always comes out very strange when it comes to me writing material. So I always found that very interesting when it comes to writing. But yes, eventually I would like to write. That is something I really want to do, for sure.
Did you have any singing lessons, or is this something that was self-taught, your talent?
So
Yes.
yeah, so I kind of I was around like 19 when I sort of started. So unlike a lot of other people, I didn't really, really do any lessons at first. And then what I basically did is I went to a different bunch of vocal coaches throughout the years. And then the biggest foundation for my training, actually, believe it or not, was about 4 years ago. I was Catholic for a long time. And then I switched over to being, Baptist. So basically I have about, 3 years that I put in the gospel church that I really, helped me, build my foundation for a lot of the vocal stuff that I do. Because when you're singing at the church for 2 or 4 hours, it really can push your vocals and, really test your limits as an artist. So really, I did have a lot of vocal coaches and different training for like different vocal coaches. One being Tanisha Hall out of LA. And Zenobia West, who is probably my biggest vocal teacher, vocal instructor for my really that kind of helped me continue to help build on top of the foundation. And then on top of that, what I do for vocal training is if it's an R&B song I really like or an artist I really try to get close to the vocal style, I'll listen to their album a whole lot top to bottom, which kind of transitioning to saying that I listened to a lot of Joe recently, more of his second album that he put out in '97. I think it's the All for You album, that album that came out around that time. And I just, try to mimic their vocal styles and stuff like that. And it would really teach me how to do some of the runs and different things to lay the foundation for my voice.
So are you afraid that people will start saying that you're trying to be like, or you're trying to sound like this person or this person? Are you afraid of that?
I was at first, but what a lot of R&B artists need to realize is that as R&B continues to hopefully grow and, and everything like that. I mean, every R&B artist has their influences. And, John B is you know, an artist that I also look up to, and he would mimic Babyface's voice. And when he dropped his first album, he said it almost the exact same thing. You know, I mean, people always call him like sort of like the white Babyface, but when you start listening to a lot of R&B and start like trying to capture the vocal styles and different things like that, you know, you start forming your own vocals, and it sort of becomes an amalgamation of different artists. You know what I mean? So like when Bobby Brown came out, I always go to Bobby first. Like he would listen to Michael, he would listen to Prince, you know, Teddy Pendergrass, you know, David Ruffin and things like that. And so when you really put that all together, you kind of formed who he, you know, his vocals. You know what I mean? So, I mean, people recently, especially, they would always say I kind of sound like John B and this, that, and the third. But especially with the new records I'm coming out, a lot of those things will see the influence, but they'll see the foundation of what my vocals are actually are. So, I try not to worry about people what they think in terms of like whether they compare me to those artists. That's more of like a determination. My whole goal is them to see the influence, but knowing, you know, that, you know, my voice is my own.
So you kind of paying homage, you're paying homage to your people that you have influenced you, but then at the same time, you're still trying to find your own lane and your own voice.
Right.
Interesting. Now, and I wanted to make sure I asked that question because you do have a look, a similar look of a John B. How many times have people told you that? Let's go back to, we were talking about John B. and you were saying it was funny because you had just recently watched a Behind the Music, and for whatever reason, people are starting to say that about you being a similar look of John B.
Yes. So it wasn't happening until I saw that Behind the Music. And then once the Behind the Music happened, a lot of people started saying that. And I think that's really interesting because until that point, I never heard people saying I look like John B or have that similar look. So I think it's just because the more active I started going out, I think that's when it was becoming a more common occurrence.
That's very much true. It's just like getting a car. When you get a car, you don't realize that a whole bunch of people have that car until you get that car. So it's like now you're putting yourself more out there. People are starting to say, "Oh, okay, you look like." Because I'm going to be honest, I said the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, I do find it flattering though. That's good. You know what I mean? I'm sure Robin Thicke got the same thing when he first came out. You know what I mean? So just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little bit.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food? Oh man, because I'm very cultured and have a whole bunch of different favorite foods. I mean, it can either be like chicken parmesan or it's like a culture dish that I have. It's like Holuvio Polo, which basically is like beef. It's like ground beef with like this like turmeric. It's like really good. Like I like a lot of rice. You know what I mean? Even though I can't speak the languages, I definitely love to eat. So that's one of my favorite dishes, or chicken or like vegetable risotto or something, you know, I cook. So, you know.
Oh goodness. Well, I love me some chicken and love vegetables and I love rice. What do you do in your free time?
On my free time, if I'm not doing music, you know, either I'm watching like, you know, Hulu, trying to catch up on, old sitcoms, or, you know, I mean, I guess you could say free time would be going to work and some things like that. So really just, you know, when it comes to that, it's mostly like watching TV and stuff, you know what I mean? Or just like reading a book or whatever, just kind of like simple stuff.
No sports?
Sports, I actually do like basketball. I wish I could play. I like to watch it, so I guess you could say on my free time I like to go to basketball games and stuff. Chicago Bulls being my favorite team specifically.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. All right. You have a new project coming up.
I do. There is no tentative title for the EP, but what I can tell you is I do. Candy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me, Kent? Okay. It froze for a second. I don't have a tentative title for the EP. However, I do have 2 singles that will be potentially dropping this month or May, and one tentative. The working title for one of them is called Changes or Life. I'm trying to figure out the title, and there's another song called like Walk On By, with one of the writers I actually have called LV on RnB. So it's definitely going to be they're definitely going to be one's going to kind of be like a really sort of like sexual R&B song, and then the other one's going to be sort of a, I guess you could say the closest thing is, because yesterday I was listening to like the Essentials of Music Soul Child, so it's more like a Music Soul Child sort of vibe. That's sort of like down, like, I'm trying to think of, it's kind of hard to kind of describe like the feeling. It just gives me that sort of like, you get like down to the core of what R&B is, that sort of like two-step sort of rhythmic sort of like I call it deep soul, but it's like I don't know the right terminology, and I don't want to sound I know a lot of R&B, but sometimes I don't know all the terminology. So, but it's one of those.
Well, how about they just continue to follow you, and then they'll
Yes.
get all of that information, and then when you're ready to release it, they can watch the video or download the
Yes.
song.
Absolutely. That's yeah.
Are you using the same production team that you did with your first song? Are you using the same production?
No, I'm actually going to be going with my boy. He's tuned into the live right now. His name is Bright, and he's a producer that's working with a lot of pretty good names in the industry right now. A lot of the newer R&B artists, but the production it's kind of like it's kind of a mix of the old and the new. It kind of reaches the core of what true R&B is, with the real. It feels like more real instrumentation, and that sort of atmospheric in a way. You know what I mean? It gives you like it's not really using like, it has very few like elements of the trap style of R&B with a little bit of the 808s in the background, but it kind of gives that sort of like a neo soul sort of sound. You know what I mean? So it's going in a, I would say it's similar to what I put out in the past, but I guess you could say it's on the same I guess you could say on the music playing field. It's about this. It's kind of more of like the next step, I should say, to be more specific, on an easier way to say it.
Have you did any real main live performing, or has it just been maybe like karaoke?
I have gone to Silver Spring a few times to perform with like a band, and occasionally I'll go to like open mic nights, but nothing super major. But that is going to change, actually. That's going to change around November, where I'll be going back to Dallas. Excuse me 1 second. I'm giving them the keys now. It's right here. Thank you, guys. Okay. Sorry. Now we can continue talking. So yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
So in terms of like the next like big performance, yeah. So as far as performances, I mean, karaoke was kind of good for me for getting over stage fright. But like in terms of like major performances, I've gone to like DC a couple of times, Silver Spring a couple of times. So I'm not super, I'm not super rusty, but I would love to always get more seasoned. So around November is when I'm going to start having some of the big performances coming up. Did you get,
Great.
Candy, did you get that?
I got it. Now let's ask, when you look in the mirror every day and
Wait,
you say
Candy, you're breaking
to
up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit.
okay, when you're looking in the mirror, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. When you're looking in the mirror every day at yourself, what is something that you tell yourself about the goal that you want to have accomplished with the
When I
music?
look at myself right. So when I'm looking myself in the mirror, when it comes to the goal, I feel like in terms of like, how back in the day you would have a lot of male R&B artists, and and you would also have a equal amount of female R&B artists. I feel like my main goal is what my friend actually told me. Who's my producer, Bright. He told me something that was kind of unfortunate. I feel like he told me that especially R&B is a very, women are very R&B was a very much catered to the women. You know what I mean? Like for on the men's side. And he told me when he talked to this female not too long ago, she kind of sort of, when she asked him specifically, and I'm going to get to your question, but I'm trying to kind of give you an idea. When she asked him what he produced, he said R&B. She sort of scoffed at it, saying R&B is not really really doing it anymore. You know what I mean? On the male side, really not making any money. So he also produces hip hop, but she's like, oh, you need to stick with doing trap or, with hip hop, not really doing R&B. And when she told me that, I was a little, it put me off a little bit because, I feel like my whole thing when I look at myself in the mirror to answer your question is like, I really want more male R&B artists to really step up, to be on the, the same level as where the female artists are specifically right now. Unless you're established, if you're like, like Keith Sweats and Tevin Campbell's, let's see, like Raheem Devon, a whole bunch of, the old guys are still doing it, but there's not a lot of people who are that look like me or some of the younger R&B artists. They're not really doing the R&B that I would kind of expect male R&B artists to do. So, you have more of the females, doing it. And I look myself in the mirror saying, I want the males to kind of step up and, I want to be part of that conversation. You know what I mean? I want more male R&B artists to just be, not just look at R&B and then use it as a stepping stone to another genre, just like say, hey, R&B is here to stay and, we're here to lift it up. I want us to all lift it up together. The new guys, you know what I mean? That are in our 20s and 30s, you know what I mean? It's important. So, yeah, that's what my whole main goal is, and hopefully, God willing, everything goes the way it needs to go to, especially this weekend. Hopefully I'll be able to be in that conversation and then, later down the line when I'm in my 40s, bring more the new fresh blood to come in, and, help R&B, stay where it needs, continue to grow. So that's my main goal. You know what I mean? So that's what I see myself in the mirror and hoping for.
Well, I thank you so much for having that goal because I agree with you. I think that we have a lot of great talent out there. And of course, as we all know, there was at some point in the 90s, early 2000s where the industry was flooded with so much talent. So when you watch the award shows, you're seeing a lot of great talent being up and selected for the awards. But now these days, it just seems like there's not much to choose from, at least
Right.
from that type of perspective. Now, I'm not saying that that talent's not out there, but at the same time, yes, we need to bring some more variations and variety back. That's me as a
Absolutely.
music lover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're 100% on that.
Besides the influences that you've already mentioned, who do you listen
Sure.
to, female wise?
On the female side of things, I'm, my friends, will put me on the now. I like Ari Lennox. I love her first album that she put out, the Shea Butter Baby album. That album is pure excellence on a high level. It reminds me a lot of Erykah Badu in a new age in a way. I listened to the album like a few times. Let's see. Doja Cat's kind of teetering the line between, yeah, she's pop, but she kind of like has a few R&B records that she has. I'm trying to think of who else I listen to currently that isn't not the old set, because I can go for days on the old set of R&B that I do listen to.
So I'm gonna have to correct you here because old.
It's not old, but I'm saying like I'm not saying old, but I'm saying what I mean. But okay, yeah. I should say more like classic R&B because. But because I'm going to be 30, in about 2 years, pretty much a year. So I'm starting, because even people looking at me, I know I look young, but when people look at me, they're kind of looking at me like I'm starting to get. So I'm saying like, and it's funny.
That's a good thing about the business now, though. So tell everyone how they can reach you, Addam.
Yeah, you guys can reach me on my Instagram at @AddamADD.am_official. And that's to link to my Instagram. You can also contact me via email for bookings or features or anything like that at Addam, ADDAM, B as in boy, music, the number 2, at gmail.com. And that's where they can reach me in terms of like contacting me to do features, or they can contact me for bookings or anything like that. I have a few people in my corner that can, send me out to these places I gotta go if you guys need me to perform or anything like that. I'm always down to work with, either established artists or, because me being new, I really wanna, be open to any opportunity I can to really get myself out there.
And you know what? You were always invited to come back, and we can do this. Hopefully, we can get together and do something in person also.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
No, what I
let
was
them know
say,
you was about to. Yeah, you was about to say as far as giving some good advice.
Some good advice for everybody is that when people are curious as to why don't they make good R&B anymore, or anything like that. The R&B is there, and I think the thing is that, you know, with a lot of the technology that we have nowadays, Spotify being able to upload everything everywhere, it kind of can get oversaturated. So a lot of the good music can kind of get put to the wayside, and some of the other music that people would consider, I guess you could say, trash, will be put up to the front. And when everybody's uploading at the same time, it almost becomes very difficult to find what's good and what's not. You know what I mean? It's just, you have so much music being uploaded on a daily. So all the good R&B is out there. You just have to look for it more. And so, which is why, unfortunately, when people are wondering, okay, where's the good R&B at? A lot of these R&B artists, because people aren't actively supporting R&B, which is why people think it's dead, is because they don't have, you know, a lot of the artists that are new or starting up don't have the big label push. They don't have the money to push their records up. So they're wondering why only once in a while we'll get like R.A. Lennox, or we'll get like a Lucky Day, and we'll have like, oh, these artists are great. But, you know, it's not because, you know, there's not a lot of artists like that. It's just because, unfortunately, they just don't have the funding to do it. And, you know, my goal is that once I start taking off, my hope is that I can go travel to different open mics and find different artists and really help put them on, so that they can help build R&B up, so we won't have this conversation about, oh, where's all the good R&B at? Why aren't they making R&B like this anymore? I'm sure there's tons of them, but they just don't have the push. So that's what I was going to say as far as that. Now, I want to say something to you, Candy, that I want to say I appreciate you very much for getting me on your show. I've been very much following you on a few things that you've done, and I think you're amazing. And you know, I definitely wouldn't mind making my way down to Indianapolis or wherever you're at, and coming down for a live interview. And, you know, if you know about any great performances that are coming down over there, you know, I got 2 new records I'm going to be promoting as soon as they're out. And, you know, I'll be making my way up there. So, you know, just tell me when, and I'll make sure I make the time to go do that. Because I think the show is really pivotal for a lot of people who are new and, you know, in the game, or people who are established. So that's what I wanted to say for people out there, final thoughts and things. And also just thanking you, because your platform is very necessary for a lot of artists.
Ooh, okay. Ooh. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Adam, for all of those good things that you said. And I'm trying to keep my tears back. So, oh gosh,
No,
thank
I'm
you
sorry.
so much.
I didn't mean to make you cry.
That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate it. I want you to continue, and thank you for getting on this platform. You're in that stage where it's so important that you build your base. You're
Mm-hmm.
in that stage where you're hungry, and so that's what I appreciate the most, you know, because people don't think that it's not hard. Some people don't hey, all I gotta do is just make a contact and that's it. No, you have to get out and you got to do that groundwork, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to be steadfast and ready to do what you need to do to get out there. So I appreciate that. I appreciate good music. Thank you so much for just being you. And I know things are going to just go and soar, you know, so I appreciate that. And I'm just interested in hearing your new project. So
Oh,
I am going to stay following you too.
I be honest with you, Candy. I'm excited myself. Trust me, because I had this song called Everything that I was gonna push as the single, but after I heard these 2 new records, I kind of changed my mind in a way, just because when you have a lot of music that you can pick from, I have literally 3 songs that could be potential, you know, singles right now, and these 2 songs, it kind of like, they're better than I was even expecting. That I haven't recorded them yet, but I have been practicing them. I've been practicing them, getting rehearsed, getting prepared for the studio on Tuesday. And it's just kind of like seeing the levels of what these records are. I'm kind of like, yeah, those are the ones that need to be the singles. So when they're out and ready to go, I'm gonna get my producer on it to finish up his final touches, unless he's okay with the way they are. And then, you know, the songs will be ready to go, you know, as soon as possible. So I'm myself am excited to get these things to you as fast as possible, getting them out there, because I really, to be honest with you, the last song I put out, which was Supernatural Love, I haven't put a song out in like over 6 to 7 months, and I'm really something I feel like is up to the par and caliber with what I know I can do. So I've been hungry to put something new out. So I'm glad that you'll feel that in the records. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear that passion of yours. Now, and I'm going to ask you this one question because, hey, we got
Yes.
some good signal. But real quick, just because of what you just said,
Yes.
you're ready, you're eager. You're talking about you haven't put out a song since 6 to 7 months.
Right.
But what happens if you go and you have your meetings and they tell
Yes.
you, hey, we want you to wait?
I want
How
you
are
to
you going to
wait.
feel about that?
When it comes to that, I'm sort of a very positive. I look at an outlook and positive, a positive outlook. When it comes to that sort of, that sort of question, I think it just, for me, I've been told that a lot, and from for the last few years when it comes to, oh, I'm not ready, and then I feel like I can kind of understand that. So in terms of this specific situation, you know, I guess it will just be kind of sort of the sign, spiritual sign saying maybe the songs weren't up to where it needed to be. So I think it will, it will kind of be slightly discouraging, but I have to look at it in perspective. If it's not ready to come out, I just have to keep working until it is ready. So that's, I always, when really depends on this, I guess depends on how I feel. But in terms of specifically this week, I do feel that if that were to be the case, then, I have to just understand that there's a reason, I mean, maybe because the song sounds great doesn't mean it's not necessarily vocally ready, but it means maybe the time-wise it needs to come out at a later date. You know what I mean? There's multiple different times, it's types of different, are you're ready or you're not. So I guess I'll have to handle and adjust accordingly.
Well, let's hope it doesn't. So we're going to put some good
Yes.
vibes back on
Yes.
that,
Yes.
put it
Yes.
on there.
Yeah,
But,
that's what I'm hoping for.
yeah, the reason why I said that is because I hear a lot of people talk about um, we're so ready.
Right.
Sometimes it takes you one whole song to go for 2 whole years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the pandemic, a lot of us is in this mind frame of, hey, I don't know how much time I have left. I want to hurry up and
Right.
get it out of there. So when you
Right.
mentioned that, I wanted to find out where you mentally, if for whatever reason, that this meeting or something where you anticipated to go great doesn't. So I
Right.
just wanted to see where you would be at mentally on that. So,
Right.
but we're going to put
Yes.
nothing but good vibes out there. So I hope the meeting goes well with you
Yes.
also. So I appreciate you. Again, guys, make sure you follow R&B artist Addam. Addam, go ahead one more time. Give them your booking information and how they can follow you and reach you.
Yes. You guys can follow me on my Instagram at adamm_official. And you can reach me via my email for bookings or for features at AddamAddam B as in boy music the number 2 at gmail.com, and you guys can find me there. And I'm always open to talk to people and work and collaborate. So that's very very important. That's where people can contact me.
Okay, I can't let you go without singing something.
Okay.
You don't have to sing a whole entire thing. You could sing My Name Candy. You could sing something that you really love to sing when you go and somebody say, I need to hear from you. So
Yeah,
sing something for me, just a little bit.
let me sing you. You know what? I'll sing you the song Everything, because that's more recent in my brain, okay? Let me do that one for you. Remember when we fell in love, we took a chance again on broken hearts, not knowing that we'd feel the same, but things have turned out fine. I took those times all for granted, and now I'm missing you. Hurry, girl, get back. I want to hold you, baby, let you know you're my lady. I'm so glad you were mine. Everything I am is because of you. My happiness derives from a love so true. Given all the things that I have been through, you are the best thing in my life.
Yay! Yes. All right. right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Candy Show. And Adam, you and I have this two thing going on. So,
Right.
guys, make sure that you subscribe to YouTube page, and also make sure you hit the notification button for Candy Productions 2, capital C, number 2. Make sure you
And
follow the Candy Show page.
yeah, no, absolutely, Candy. And actually, I want to mention something to you real quick before I leave. So, how do you know Cisco?
Me?
Yeah,
I don't know, Cisco.
you don't know
I just love
Cisco.
music.
It's funny that you say that because I checked your page and Cisco follows you
Oh,
from
really?
Drew Hill.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, yeah, no, go when you're done with the interview, go on your page of the people that follow you, and you'll see that
Mhm.
Cisco follows you. So I guess he likes what you do. So from Drew Hill.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
Well,
saw that. I was like, oh, Candy knows Cisco.
oh, wow. Well, thank you. No, I didn't know that. I appreciate that.
I think, hey, listen, if you got the guy that sung the thong song, and someone's sleeping in my bed, and tell me. So,
Well, I appreciate that. I
yeah,
appreciate that. Wow. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
guys, thank you so much once again
Okay.
tuning into another episode of Candy Show. Addam, R&B artist, stay tuned. Look out for him. Great voice. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, Candy.
Bye.
Bye.